Rosh Kodesh Ma'ariv. What should he do? Why?
Well, shout out to Zoot for trying. That's okay. I've got 6 podcasts lined up with some idiots. Dude, if you ever watch this, I really appreciate you. Zoot, my friend,
You're
thank
on
you,
his podcast.
thank you so much.
Are you on this podcast?
No, we're not going to do it because he only does them in person. But I want you to know how much I appreciate that you.
Why isn't he going to do it?
He told me he tried to do it twice. The first time he tried paid software and only half of it recorded. The second time um, he did a bunch of like troubleshooting and it didn't record anything. And he just said that's not the kind of podcast he wants to do. He wants to do one on one with people. But that doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is the fact that you, as my friend, tried to get me on that podcast, and that means the world to me. Zoot, more than I could ever really just just communicate right now. Thank you.
Why would you want to go on that podcast?
I thought he was a really good interviewer. So thank you, Zoot. And for that, I'll play any.
A lot of people that go on the podcast they said the opposite. They say he talks too much and doesn't like you.
I think he's great.
How was the interview? Was that awkward as hell?
No, Zoot, you did fine.
I just took a long time to answer that.
Yeah, but like he said, you were cool about it. Like, you just were. Look, there's a certain thing when you're on podcasts or you're on the radio, or you're on television, you can get nervous. It's awkward. You're not in your normal sense. You said some cool stuff. I'm glad that you talked about your rap idea. And, you said a couple things that were funny, which was great.
What did I say?
Let's see here. When you were talking about, I'm not, uh, it's not that it's taken me a while to think of like something that you said that was funny. It's just I want to think of the right thing. It was towards the end. I thought you did better as it continued. Um, you said it was in the one thing that made me laugh. It was doing the questions of like you had to do the opposite, and I understand you weren't like ready for that. But you said something that was I thought it was really good for the Terminator. I thought you picking the president was a really good answer. I thought that was a great answer. And what else? You said a couple other things that I thought were good. I thought the thing about Rap Genius or whatever, that's a really good idea, Zoo. And I wish I could fund it. I think it's such a good idea. Um,
It's not just that. Like, imagine, like, this, right? Like, you take an influence for someone, like, as a comedian, right? You take an influence from their joke, because that often happens. You're watching a comedian. That's why I don't really like watching comedians. You take an influence from their joke, and then you alternate it to your own joke. Like, you can go back and, like, oh, I reckon and this joke, and then you see the attach that, and you can pivot people into that comedian as well.
I agree with you. I think it would be very informative, almost like a comedy encyclopedia, right?
Is the comedy market big enough for people to go there and be like, oh, I want to hear what they meant by that joke? Is it big enough?
Yeah, it'd be like an encyclopedia, right?
Because, like, rap musicians will go on, like, 20,000, 40,000 people per show, right?
Right.
Comedians are just, that's like 50 or 200 people in the room for an average comedian. Like, I'm talking big comedian. I've been to big comedians around Australia, and there's like 200 people in the room.
Well, let me ask you the question that I asked you again. Your idea would be like an encyclopedia for comedy, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Matt Rothschild, he's got comedians, and he's got 3,000 people in there. I don't think there's really a niche market.
No. That's a small. I mean, that's Australia. Matt Rife made $100 million last year in the United States alone. He's giant. Matt Rife is going to be a billionaire by the time he's 40. That's big time money.
I don't know who. I don't even know if Ralph is that good.
Oh, he's huge. He's huge. He's the top. He's
I
the
don't think. I think he's. I think he has a good market. I don't think he's good.
okay. Well, whether you think he's funny or not, he's a good-looking dude, or women think he's a good-looking dude, and that's all that matters. He puts asses in the seats.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of money to that. Now, here's the thing that I don't know if your idea. What would you call it?
I don't know.
Okay, well, whatever it is, let's just call it for now the Comedy Encyclopedia. That's not what it is, but just so we both know what we're
That's a
talking
shit
about.
name.
I know it's a shitty name. I'm not saying that's what it is. I'm saying that's actually what it's not, but that's what it is in theory. AI can basically do
People want.
AI can
People
basically
want
AI can basically do that for you right now. So it's not really necessary. Meaning, I could give AI Dave Chappelle's "Killing 'Em Softly," and it could tell me all of the different references and what he meant.
Yeah. It wouldn't do it accurately. It wouldn't be Dave Chappelle himself verifying it.
Well, I don't know if they would do that, but I can tell you that the I don't know if anybody would ever do that. I don't know if a comedian would want to say, yes, I verify that's what that joke meant. Because jokes mean different things to different people. And sometimes comedians, especially because they're artists, don't want to be like, they just want to make you laugh. If it made you laugh because you thought he said one thing, but he really meant something else, he doesn't want to take that away from you.
Here's the thing, right? In 10, 15 years from now, right? Someone makes a joke about Charlie Kirk today, but it's still relevant a year later. 10 to 15 years from now, people won't know who Charlie Kirk was.
Okay, but couldn't I just, let's say, I wanted to know.
A 5-year-old won't know who Charlie Kirk is.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
5-year-old today, 15 years.
I understand. I understand that your opinion, but they could just type into ChatGPT, "Why is this funny?"
They could.
Exactly. So, like
They could.
a joke like, do you know who Winston Churchill is?
Yes, the Prime Minister of England during World War II.
Exactly. So he's a historical figure, and there were a lot of jokes that were made about him around that time. Well, if you give perhaps someone of today's day jokes about Winston Churchill, they're not going to understand them, but they could go to ChatGPT and say, "Why was this humorist making fun of this person?" And they would tell you in extreme depth everything about it.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so what I'm saying is, like, your idea would have been valuable 15 years ago, but now AI has basically replaced all that. Now, Zoo, I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm saying that you might have to tweak it, or maybe this is what you had in mind. But basically, let's say it could categorize different jokes, and that's a good idea. That doesn't really exist, like a joke and comedy encyclopedia, where all the jokes are. And so let's give an example that we both remember. Okay, so Killing 'Em Softly. You've seen that Dave Chappelle skit, right?
Most of it, yeah.
Okay, so
It's been a long time.
it's been a long time for me too, and this could be. I think this is from Killing 'Em Softly. He tells this skit about driving in a limo in Washington D.C. Do you know what one I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Okay, and you know how he like has to, you know how he has to roll the window down,
Yeah.
and he's
Is
like,
killing himself really one way to do that? Masturbating from us?
yeah, I think so. It's either that or the one that he did in San Francisco. Or is that? Hold on, he did one in Washington D.C. I'm gonna look it up. Chappelle special D.C. and SF. So he did "Killing Him Softly,"
Please.
where he's got that Zaire shirt, or maybe that was from Chappelle's show. Chappelle's special. He did one in San Francisco. Okay. He did "Killing Him Softly" in D.C. Okay, so that one, the one that he did in D.C. He did "Killing Him Softly" in D.C. Okay, so let's talk about the one where he's on the bus. You know that skit, right? You know that.
Yeah.
You know
What did
that
you say?
skit. You know that skit, right? Where he's on the bus. Do you know that skit?
Yeah.
Okay, so you could have it where it's basically an entry for that joke, and then it could you could click on it, and it would tell you all the different categories that that joke fits, like public masturbation and like absurdity of a situation, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so I think that this is valuable, and I think that it doesn't currently exist, and it'd be a lot of work to do, and AI would very quickly take it over. But you maybe you could utilize AI to your advantage. So you take "Killing Them Softly," you put all the words in there, and you tell AI to pull out every single joke in there and categorize it for you. That would work. That would work really well.
You don't need AI.
You don't need AI, or yeah, you do need AI, or it'd make it easier.
Okay. Rap Genius doesn't use AI. Never has.
Yeah, but okay, but Rap Genius has like at least like a decade and a half of like people working on it. You're
It's
start.
community, bro.
I know you're starting from scratch with no community. So why wouldn't you use AI to just make your job a lot easier?
The AI, community and AI, so like just the people who are posting the first post can be like, yeah, that's what I meant. If the AI is right or not. A lot of them will be lazy and be like, oh, well, just go with the AI says. There'll be some that will want to work on their craft and be like, no, this has to be perfect. This is what I meant by this. I approve this.
Okay, that's true. All right, but I mean, basically, you'd have to create a whole community, and that's going to be really difficult to do. And the rap community is more tight knit than the comedy community.
Yes, but more people listen to rap music than people listen to comedy.
I don't know about that. I I know it's
No. Here's the reason why. Do you know what the reason why is?
well. Wait, let me just say. I think you're probably right, but I think they're also more passionate about it.
The reason why is the language barrier. You don't. The music is universal, and people like how you saw like Bad Bunny, like get fame. That's the same with English rap around the world. People listen to the instrumental, the flow, and the rhythm. They don't care about what the lyrics are. There are people around the world that don't understand the language that can relate to the rap music, to the instrumentals and everything. and they still have a following. You can't do that really for comedy. You need to be able to be aware of speaking the language when it comes to comedy, unless it's like Mr. Bean, where it's like slapstick comedy or like that.
Okay.
But Mr. Bean was successful.
Okay. Well, I thought you raised an interesting point there, and I think Zoot that will be something in the future. It just needs the community, and like it would just need awareness. But I think that all the jokes of all the specials could be categorized. It's a very good idea. Zoot, I'm going to just be very, very honest with you. 99% of the ideas that you bring up are like, come on, Zoot. But this one, I'm going to give you credit. It's a good idea.
Yeah. It's just complicated to explain.
I mean, it's essentially a comedy encyclopedia where all of the comedy sketches of all time are basically organized and their jokes are categorized.
In fact, you can also have a translator that translates it in different languages as well.
Yeah, and that would be a big thing to make sure that comedy is accurate and is translated accurately. And I think this is the next development of AI. AI has like words down really well, but it doesn't have word usage down that well. And comedy's really like the efficiency of words is really important in comedy, and AI doesn't quite have it yet. Now, my question to you is this: because you were so nice and you reached out to that person, I will always really appreciate that. What game would you like to play? I'll play anything you want. You choose the game.
My phone, my phone charger's not working. Since it's before that.
Your phone charger's not working?
Yeah, I need a phone charger.
You need a new phone charger or you need a new phone?
Phone charger.
Okay, but isn't your screen not working?
Yeah, I need a lot of things.
Okay, I understand, dude. I'm not going to be hard on you. Okay, well, you should know that you have nothing to fear with that interview. It was completely fine. I wouldn't say completely fine. There are some people who would find that interview to be contentious or inappropriate, but they don't know you and whatever. Their opinion doesn't really matter.
What was contentious and inappropriate about it?
Anytime you use that guy from World War II, you're gonna have issues.
I'm not condoning his actions. I'm just saying that he'll be a good comedian. He's a good public figure.
I know, but just whenever you bring that guy up, there's always gonna be issues. Okay.
I would, if I could go back in time and do that interview, I would have said Marco Polo.
Okay, I mean that's cool. That's cool. Oh, wait, Zoo. You know what? Hold on. You know what answer I loved is when he said, "If you could go back in history and do comedy for any people, who would you do?" And you said, "I would go to the future." That was a Rabbi Zoot discussion. I even told Reiser that. I was like, "Oh, that's my boy, thinking outside the box."
Why would you go to the future?
No, I maybe would. I'm saying that we have those types of conversations all the time. When you said I would freeze myself into the future, we talk about that stuff all the time.
I mean, like, freezing, I think, like, in the future, like, more things are going to be, like, everyone will have a better mental health in the future. Mental health, I think, the biggest problem living in this day and age is we have terrible mental health because we just don't forgive people like we should. We attack each other, and like we don't give people second chances, and we just say you should just go on these pharmaceuticals. drugs, and then the JP subscribe everyone these pharmaceutical SSRIs that make things worse and make them have thoughts of harming others and themselves, and it's not good.
I know. So Zoot, I thought from your podcast, my favorite parts were when you said you would do comedy in the future. That was very outside the box thinking. That was great. With the Terminator answer, that was funny. With the thing about STDs, that was interesting. That was an interesting take. Um, and you said something really interesting. Uh, Trying to think what it was. Um,
Where you say yourself in 5 years?
no, I mean that was an interesting take. I'm not gonna say it. I'm glad that you. It's like the bare minimum, but at least it's real. And I know with what you've gone through, that we, God willing, that will be the case. Plus a lot more good things for you. But I understand that like that's just like the bare minimum. But we want that. That's very important. So actually, now looking back on it, yes, I'm happy with that answer. But you gave another answer that was really interesting. Uh, oh, um, he was asking the question, your favorite word, F word, that's your favorite curse word, that's fine. Um, and oh, um, you you had the I thought you answered the question about Amos really well. Like that was really good. And that was interesting that he didn't know who James McCann was. It's amazing to me. You didn't know who James McCann was. It's amazing to me that more Australians don't know about James McCann and all these Americans like know who he is. I'm not saying he's a household name in America. He isn't. But if you know comedy in America, you know James McCann pretty well.
Uh,
And I mean, I should say this. If you know Shane Gillis and you know Kill Tony, you know James McCann. If you don't know them, then you don't know anything about uh, about him. But nevertheless,
James McCann's still an opening comedian. He's not big. He still hasn't found his own identity outside Shane Gillis.
yeah, he's been on Kill Tony. He won Kill Tony's set of the year last year.
Yeah.
And
but he's still going to be James. He's still going to be Shane Gillis's opening sidekick as well.
That's fine. That's a great gig.
I mean, it's better than my gig.
Well, I mean, dude, you could open for James McCann if you wanted.
What?
You could open for James McCann if you wanted, and that interviewer basically told you you aren't good at the networking aspect of comedy. You want to do comedy in secret, and like that's cool, but like that you're not going to get anywhere with that. I hope that this interview is the thing that makes you realize like I have to make my social media public. I have to recognize that like I'm a real person. I can't stay in hiding. You're a good-looking dude. You are a public individual. You're a funny person sometimes. You have to realize that you should send James McCann a message when you're ready on Instagram, and you should at least friend him and be like, "Hey, it was a pleasure to meet you at the Rhino Room." He'll follow you back. That's how comedians are. And then when you're ready and you come to me,
Would you call prior to it, that would have been possible to get contact with.
No, you
I know how to get in contact with him.
you could get in contact with him. All you have to do is follow him. If his messages are on, send him a message. If his messages are off, in his comments say, "Hey, I'm XYZ, and we met at the Rhino Room. I'd appreciate it if you would follow me back. I'd love to DM you."
No,
Yep.
my friend ran into him the other day when he was on his run.
Okay, but I mean, if you did what I said, he'd follow you back. He's big, but he's not that big. And the reason why on social media he's got to keep that under wraps is he's pretty big in the United States, and the Kill Tony universe is notorious for social media, and so like they would send him messages all day long. So I totally understand why he's more private about that.
Yeah, I could, if I really want to build a career out of it, I could reach out to him.
Exactly, you could do that too.
Which would be the better route?
Amos, but you don't even know Amos that well.
I know his dad's very loyal. His dad lives like straight away.
So you should be really proud. You did really well.
I know. I know. It's just like, I was watching the interview and I was just like, this could go fucking viral.
No, it's definitely not going viral. You have no worries about that. This from the king of people who I always feel like I'm going viral, and it doesn't happen. So I can just tell you, there's nothing about your. I'll tell you what will go viral. I will go viral. Look, I've got a 6-part series with a radio host in Australia. We did one today. It was just an initial thing, but the 6 ones that are going to be published start on Monday, and this guy has millions of listeners. In he's a radio host in Australia.
What's his name?
Mike Holt. He's the number 8 podcast in all of Australia, according to Good Pods.
What radio station do you work with?
Oh, something in Brisbane.
Yeah, Brisbane's probably one of the biggest radio stations. Radio stations with Melbourne and Sydney. What's more important is Melbourne and Sydney?
Yeah, no. Oh, apologies. He's on a Melbourne station.
Okay, that's big.
Yeah, it is big. And he's an older man. He worked for the Australian CIA, and he...
Being on radio in Melbourne top is probably one of the hardest cities to get on radio.
I agree. And they invited him. Like he...
Perth and Tasmania are probably the easiest.
Perth and Tasmania. Wait, what about Northern Territory?
Yeah, that's probably the easiest.
Right. So Northern Territory, Western Australia, and Tasmania are the easiest.
I've never met anyone from Northern Territory.
That's amazing, dude. I was going to ask, have you? So that's where...
I know people who go to Northern Territory and go to West, but I've never met anyone specifically that just says, I live in Northern Territory and I'm here on holiday. I came to visit Ireland. It just doesn't happen.
And that
we go there, but no one comes here.
And that's Darwin, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like...
It's not... It's because it's not a state. It's a territory, right?
Right.
The location. No one no one really lives in the territories. Like people live in ACT, right? Like Australian capital Canberra. That's more like if you live there, like you're probably like
Doing something with the government.
working in politics, but you're probably working in politics if you work in ACT, right?
Yes.
Or you're like working. You're either working in politics if you're doing the ACT, or working at the manufacturer, which is where the money's in. Those are like, or you just got, or you just some random like kid fresh out of high school.
What did you say? You work in politics or what else?
Sorry?
You work in politics or what else?
You work at the mint factory.
The mint factory?
Yeah.
You mean like the Australian Mint?
Yep.
Yeah, where the money is created, right?
Yeah, and then there's Quirks the Carnival, which is like a mini like indoor theme park. It's like a science, but it's like more like educational and science based.
Yeah, but as I understand, Canberra is like a pre-designed city to be a capital, right? It's like a pre-designed city to be a capital. Like the people who made Australia, like the British government said, we don't want the capital to be Sydney, we don't want it to be Melbourne, we want it to be in the middle.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Melbourne and Sydney were fighting over who was going to be the capital, and they just built Canberra because ACT because they were just like, okay, well, this is in the middle.
Right.
You're both happy. You're both in the middle. So like it's in between North New South Wales, Victoria.
I think that doesn't Darwin have really nice weather?
No.
Are you serious? I thought it was like, isn't it near the? Well, it's near the equator, closer. But isn't it like? Doesn't it have like nice ocean currents or like that sea current?
Queensland, which is near it, is better.
Okay, all right, and then but
Queensland's also Queensland's also in the north, but Queensland's northeast, so
right,
northeast. So the main of Australia is in the east coast.
Right.
So you go from Queensland to New South Wales, ACT, and Victoria. That's the east coast of Australia. That's like the most important. And then the southwest and north just gets left out. Like,
Right.
Like, people make jokes about, like, if you're not on the east coast, then people make jokes about you.
Right. Even Australians make fun of Perth. Even Australians make fun of Perthians, and they're just so far away from everything.
We just make fun. We make fun of Tasmania the most because they're so small. They're such a small population that a lot of people are just like. There's a lot of incest in Tasmania because there's a lot of. I don't know if there is anymore, but there used to be a lot of incest in Tasmania.
Well, because they're on an island, and there's not a lot of people who want to be there. I think Tasmania is really cool, though. Zoo, when I go viral, I mean this. I'm gonna have a place in Melbourne, and but one thing that I want to do with you, I really mean this. Sure, we're gonna travel the world and all kinds of other shit, but we're gonna do a road trip and we're gonna live stream it on Australia One, which is the road that goes all around Australia, like all the way around the perimeter.
I'm alive by then.
Zoo, come on, man. Zoo, you did really well. Don't have these negative thoughts, man. You did really well.
I think it's gonna be another 5 to 10 years before you go viral.
No, dog, I got this one in the bag. I got 6 podcasts with a giant radio host in Australia. This is Australia's 8th biggest podcast. And he's into all kinds of shit that I don't know. I think people like you would really like. He's really about like individual rights. He has this whole plan. He has all these websites. Um, he is he's lived an amazing life. He's a musician, but he was in the Australian CIA, and he worked in the CIA in the United States, and like